Welcome to Washington Football Week with your host, one half of that dynamic duo, Sean Spencer, and South Carolina's finest, Will Kramer.
Don't play us if you're undefeated.
Where we celebrate past success while looking to a bright future. There's a youth movement in Washington, and they're ready to take the reins. Led by Fire.
Play aggressive.
It's a new day. New dawn. No longer the laughing stock. It's time to take.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy, Sean Spencer, one half of that dynamic duo that is Let's Talk Football. And you know what day it is, ladies and gentlemen. It's Wednesday. Happy Hump Day! And that means I must be with my guy, South Carolina's finest, where it's getting under 70 out there. Is it a little chilly? I see the hoodie on, Will. Will Kramer, what's up, buddy?
Sean, it is 55 degrees right now. I'm sorry. It says it's now 49 degrees in the middle of October. This is ridiculous. I am not happy.
As soon as I saw the hoodie, I was like, "Oh, it must be a little chilly out there."
There was a reason why I put this on. I wanted you to see that I'm angry.
Yep. I love it. Yes, it is a little chilly out there. Definitely a little chill.
Fall. It's very fall-like feelings.
Yes. It is football weather, baby, and we are here all about it, man. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? We're glad you guys can join us on Washington Football Weekly. We are back. Yes, we are still here talking this game after only our second loss, Will.
Mm-hmm.
Only our second loss. I love that. There's a little bit of a trend when it comes to tougher teams, but we'll get there.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody kind of got put back in their place. We're going to be all right. But before we get into the game against the Ravens, we definitely wanted to shout out a couple little announcements, man. My guy, Will, like we mentioned last week, he traveled, came up north because you had to go to a wedding. Our buddy, Sean Tate, got married, Will. How was that?
Oh, it was a great time. It was a great time to see Sean. It was a really fun ceremony, fun reception. Him and Ma Bell have a great future in front of them. And I'm so thrilled for him. It was great to connect with him a little bit. We had his brother coming up to me, one of his groomsmen, saying they want to be on the pod. They like what we do. I told Sean we got to get him on at one point. He did decline one time in the preseason, so that's his fault. But it was great to see him. Big congrats to him, and we'll get him on here as well at some point.
Oh, absolutely. Most definitely. Yo, shout out to you, Sean. And look, Tatum, I know you need to talk some winning football in Washington because our Tar Heels going in the last 4 weeks, Tatum. I know that hurts, man, because it hurts me, my guy.
I was so close. If I had a chance to say something to him, I was going to hit him with the 70-50 comment during the ceremony, but I never really got an opportunity, which is good. It's good I didn't have to.
Definitely good. Oh, my goodness. Can't live that one down from a JMU alum. Here we go. But look, ladies and gentlemen, one other thing I have to do. It is October 16th. I know it's chilly out here, so I'm thinking it's a little bit ahead of what it really is. It's still October 16th. And ladies and gentlemen, the most amazing, the most beautiful, the most special, any adjective, anything I could describe her, she's amazing. The one who gave me birth, my mother, Cheryl Spencer. It's her birthday today. She is 25 plus whatever, because that's exactly what
good. It's good.
Hey, I called her this morning. She was going out. Her and her dad went out to, I think, Cary, North Carolina, and just went to look at the scenery and just enjoy each other's company. So definitely was good for her. I'm going to go down there this weekend.
Yes.
My little brother's a diehard Panthers fan, Jared Spencer. He's going to be on here a little bit later. So we're going to watch that game down there and just be there for Mom for her birthday, man. So happy birthday, Mom. Love you.
Yes, absolutely. Happy birthday, Mama Spencer. That's awesome. I'm glad you have a chance to get down and see her too.
Oh, yeah. It's been a while for sure. It definitely has. Look,
Anton.
ladies and gentlemen, what up, Anton? How you doing, buddy? How you doing?
Yeah.
Live from the 757. Yo, you know why we're here, ladies and gentlemen. Washington Football Weekly, and you know we got to talk about this game. After going 4-1 in the first 5 starts, we finally come up against another playoff team. We saw what happened against Tampa Bay in that first game. This one, the score was a lot closer. Washington loses in Baltimore to the Ravens 30-23. Will, you picked them to win, or you picked the Ravens to win. Mm-hmm. Nate picked the Ravens to win. Obviously, you know, I went a little bit different, but still it was a close game. And if I'm not mistaken, we all had the Ravens at the same score. I think we all had the Ravens getting at least 30. I think you guys both had 30, and I think I had 32, 31. I think I said 31. So we kind of knew where it was going to be. We didn't get the win. Will, how are you feeling after this, man? Is your bubble popped, or is this kind of part of the core? Like part of the course is what we expected.
I wasn't even upset on Sunday when we had a chance in between the ceremony and the reception to catch the final couple drives and stuff like that. And, you know, I expected the loss. You know, Baltimore is a perennial playoff team.
Yes.
They have organization stability, something
Yes.
we're there, we're getting it. You know, they are what we want to be. Mm-hmm. They're the type of franchise we want to be. And so I thought this was going to be a good benchmarking game. And, you know, Baltimore's going for the Super Bowl. Yeah. If we win, we win more than 7 games, it's more than what Vegas thought. So, like, Success. We're not in the same spot in our seasons here. And we hung with them. So, you know, and we walked away from that game with some of those players saying, you got someone under center. You got somebody under center, you know? So I don't want to call it a moral victory. I don't want it. That's not what I'm looking for. But like, it's like, all right, well, you're going to lose some games, and we played well against a pretty darn good team. So I was okay with it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yo, JD Nash Jr. saying, hello, guys, from Commander Nash. What's going on, JD? Nice. I'm glad you can join us. Yeah, no, to your point, look, these guys were 1 win away from the Super Bowl a year ago. We already know from what Nathan and other Ravens fans have said, it is Super Bowl or bust. On top of that, we went into Baltimore where they had the blackout, everybody in their black, and they were roaring and everything like that. But you know what I think was the biggest thing for me, Will, where I already felt like it was a success, regardless of the score, is we were respected. Ravens fans that were talking to me were saying, man, okay, we feel like we can get this win, but we still kind of, you know, we want to see what Jaden Daniels can do. You know, we want to see how well this defense can do. Can you stop the run? Can you do this, do that? You take away Derrick Henry and Lamar and Zay Flowers, and we're right there. I mean, we had most of the situation shut down, but once those guys did their thing, we'll talk about that a little bit later, that definitely put them in advantageous situations. I like you feel good about this game. It is what was to be expected playing a team of that caliber, and it's a leveling stick. You know, this is the second playoff team that we faced, and the first one it was not close for a majority of that game. This one it was. You know, they came out in the second half and scored a couple and kind of separated a little bit, but we stuck in there. We kept fighting, and we made it close. So I saw some things that I really am encouraged about, and some things that I think we can really build off, Will.
Yeah. Well, you know what's kind of a one thing I saw, which we can build off, which is a really good sign, is we traveled to that game. As opposing fans, we were there. Yes. Like you could see it, you could see the jerseys, you could hear them a little bit. Like we were there. And that was said, it was shared by reporters like, hey, there's a lot of burgundy and gold here. That's at the game, which that's a continuation because against the Browns, they drowned out the Browns fans. And we're about to have some games coming up at Northwest Stadium where other teams fans could come in like Pittsburgh, and it's like you're starting to see the fans come back. They're starting to see like, ooh, I want to get involved in this. And so that part is good. And one of the guys I love following is Tom Libero, and he is pretty much pessimistic, except he loves him from some JD5. Nice. And he says, when you got that guy on the field, you're not out of any game. And he showed it, and he kept rallying us and get us back and all that. And so, just like Nash is saying here, they needed to be tested, and we showed that we can hang with them. It wasn't perfect. We got beat. There's areas we got beat pretty bad in. There's sides of the ball we got beat pretty bad in, but it was a good test for us.
Oh yeah. And at the end of the day, the battle of the Beltway was actually a battle. It was actually something that both sides prepared for. Both sides came into this game excited about. And at the end of the day, also, I got to say this. The whole game, I was looking for hello Tinaha. Like, where you at, man? Where you at? You know what I mean? Just like, Jaden, get down. Because I don't want that leg dangling out a la RG3 and all that. So, coming out of this game, almost fully healthy. We're going to talk about Jonathan Allen, but almost fully healthy coming out of this game and having the performance that we saw from our quarterback. Yes, I am.
Here it is. Yeah. Nathan, stay in the comments and let us know your thoughts, because we're about to go over our recap. Yeah.
RG3 learned to slide. Look, JD was like, I ain't dealing with that. And they got to him a lot. But look, Will, let's go ahead and go into this offensive performance of this ball game. 23 points. Yes, that was nice. Honestly, first and foremost, we didn't have B-Rob. We know how much of a force he is with that run game, but also what he does is it takes pressure off of Jaden and allows us to open up our play action, and it gives us more of a wide open offense. I think Eckler, we all looked at as kind of a third down back, so he only had, I believe, like 22 yards in this game. So us not being able to run the ball became a problem as we went down the line. But again, like they're saying, we have a quarterback. Jaden had, I believe, his best performance passing with almost 270 yards in the air, 24 of 35, 2 TDs. So he did what he had to do, but I just think it's such a big issue. I've talked about it all year. If that run game is not successful, if it's not proved to be a threat, then that defense line and those linebackers can pin their ears back and just come right after the quarterback. And Jaden, for how mobile and his ability to escape the pocket and escape pressure in this game, they had fast linebackers. They had guys that were spying on him and forcing him to beat them. He did his best, but wasn't able to break loose like we've seen in some of those other games. Will, what do you think?
Yeah. So since we got our buddy on here, I think one of the things that Washington's been able to do is they've created an identity by running the ball and taking some of that off of JD5's plate. And what was kind of interesting is in this game, that didn't seem to be part of the game plan. Nate's talking about how we got a little one-dimensional, and it was almost, I wonder if it was by choice. So Baltimore has the number one rush defense. So you knew that was going to be tough. And running against Travis Jones and Matabuke, I think I said it correct, is not easy. But we only gave 11 carries to our running backs, Eckler and McNichols. And that's kind of surprising because McNichols still did some things against Arizona. They're different opponents, but to not keep going back to that a little bit more did surprise me. I certainly am not here for the Ron Rivera era where it's like, let's run it on first down, let's run it on second down, and they both get stuffed. And so now it's 3rd and 11, and Sam and Taylor are just chucking it to try, so like that wasn't effective. But over the course of a game to only have 11 carries to running backs, that's also kind of a little bit questionable in the game plan. And that's where I don't know if the idea was basically they were like, hey, listen, we know this is going to be challenging. We don't have our best running back. And so we know this is going to be a challenge. So we are going to focus on the pass, and maybe that was the case. And, they did that. They continue to do what they do on offense, which is spread the ball around. Ertz with 4 catches, Brown with 4 catches, Terry with 6, OZ with 4. But I think the fact that And I don't think not having B-Rob would have been like a huge difference maker, but they just didn't try to continue to run the ball. And that really surprised me.
Right. And I think where Nate said right here is that I think this game identified that Austin is a pass catcher with B-Rob. Offense became one-dimensional. And I think he's right. I mean, to that point, when you have B-Rob back there, I think the other side might know the run is coming, but B-Rob, one of the things Brian Mitchell was said is even if he's running, he falls forward for those 2 or 3 extra yards. And that plays a big role in the offense. Look, we're not a drop back passing team. It's almost so funny that I'm about to say this, but it's almost like Dak and the Cowboys, his rookie year, where they went 13-3 and Dak did enough, but Zeke was a monster in that run game. Yeah. That O-line was sufficient. They were able to move the ball, which opened up that play action and opened up that pass game. And then to your point, we still spread the ball around. And Nate was saying it last week that, he wasn't necessarily trusting his secondary as much. And we were able to move the ball around up and down the field. But with us not having that consistent run game, it showed in certain areas. Third downs, we were 4 of 12. You know what I mean? We only went for the one 4th down, but still, when you're 4 of 12, when you're that low on the 3rd down percentage after being so high coming into this game, it shows we're not staying on the field. We're trading field goals for touchdowns. We'll talk about us receiver a little bit later, but with a team like this, and we said the same thing in week 1 against the Buccaneers, with a playoff team, you cannot trade field goals for touchdowns. You can't do that in these type of games. So for however good Jaden did, for however good our receivers and we were able to get out, they really kind of knew what the game plan was. And it was, we limit the run, but make Jaden beat us. And he did what he could do, but we needed some help in other places. So it was frustrating. But again, you got to look at it from a positive perspective. You know what I mean? This was not a blowout. Our offense was able to move the ball against a solid defense. We know, like you said, number 1 rush defense. So, yes, they did what they do, but we were able to move the ball in the air. And I'm proud about that. I really genuinely kind of come away from this game like you, being very encouraged and feeling like, okay, these guys can run with them if we can consistently play well, but we need that run game.
Right. Well, especially the fact that even if you're down 27-13, what you also saw is that the team didn't give up, and part of it is because they do believe in who they have at quarterback, giving them a chance. But it's also the makeup of this team is literally like, all right, things aren't going so well, but we're going to keep going after it. And, and they got a touchdown to make it within a 1-score game. They had the ball again with a chance to come, drive down to tie the game up. And, they fell short. But again, this is a good test. The types that we have been beating bad teams. And now we finally got a chance to get tested, and you're only going to get better from these games. JD5 is going to find stuff out there that he wish he could have done, and better. And so this is good that we had this game to use as a benchmark, a barometer, and to learn from.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We did good. Our line still did good. Only gave up 3 sacks. Our penalties hurt us. Especially untimely penalties. We had 6 for 46 yards. And one of the things that we harped on the last couple weeks, the last 4 weeks when we were winning, we won the time of possession battle. We lost the time of possession battle by about 13 minutes, So obviously that has to do with their run game. Yeah. And it has to do with us not being able to stay on the field. But that plays a major role in a game where one of the things that we talked about coming into this game was keeping the ball, keeping their offense off the field, and giving us a chance on offense. And we came up a little bit short there, but hey, now we go back to the drawing board and we see what we can do. Some of them, yeah. I agree.
I think that one on St. Juice when the receiver was falling down, that's a really tough one to take.
That was terrible.
That was a pretty that was a very big moment in the game.
Right.
Yeah, that one was tough.
That was terrible, especially when you look at the clip. Go ahead.
Right. And so Nathan's asking if we thought if Tampa was a test, asking that, and I certainly do, but I think there's a big difference between a rookie quarterback in his first game versus this was what is this now, week 6? It was week 6, I think. Yeah. So too much has happened since then. So yeah, absolutely. But it also let's be honest, 2 playoff teams we played, we've lost to. You and I aren't going around here saying Super Bowl right now. We're saying, hey, they're surpassing expectations right now, but we are still a work in progress. When we get to one of our next segments, we're going to talk about what maybe are there ways to improve this team before the offseason, but this was never Super Bowl aspirations like Baltimore. So, we also got to stay grounded in reality here.
Right. No, absolutely agree. Absolutely not. And I will say that some Washington fans have turned into Dallas fans by saying we're playoff contenders, we're X, Y, and Z. Pump your brakes, people. I've already had to discuss this with some of y'all. Pump your brakes, because we got some things we got to work on. We do. And that's one of the things that I think we've seen in this game. And when they go back and look at film, you start to look at, we have pieces with what we have right now. We have pieces that can succeed. But again, little things, we just attention to detail, little things we got to correct, and we got to be healthy. We have to be healthy to get in there. So, and we aren't there yet. No, I don't think we are, but it feels good because we're doing what we're supposed to do in those other games. And in these games, we showed up. We look good. So I'm happy with.
Well, here's the other thing to be thinking about after this loss. Prior to this game, NBC wanted to flex us to Sunday Night Football. Mm-hmm. The CBS team just moved us from the 1 o'clock to the 4 o'clock. That's during trunk or treat. I'm really mad right now that they're putting Nance and Romo on the game. So, when we go and play the Bears. So we go from like, no one wants us on Monday night, don't put the Commanders on primetime, to now it's like we are becoming a team that the league wants to showcase. So that is the progress that we're talking about.
Oh yeah. Everybody's still looking at us. Everybody's still loving on Jaden. And hey, it proved that we're getting there. We're getting there. Look, let's go ahead and move on to the defense, Will. All things considered, only gave up the 30 points. Got our first turnover, won the turnover battle.
There we go.
Shout out to Mike Sanders still getting that first reception.
Off a bad pass.
Bad
pass, a little bit of a tip.
Andrews could have caught it too. Yeah. But I'll take it. We're getting the first turnover. But all in all, man, we couldn't stop the run. Zay Flowers had himself a game of games. We couldn't get him off the field on third down. They were 6 of 10. It's just, talk to me, Will, because there are things that point to saying that we did good in this game, holding this team to 30 and things of that nature. But at the same time, sometimes you can say they just did just enough to win. They knew how to just keep us at bay, but our defense we couldn't get off the field. We couldn't stop them, man. Talk to me.
Yeah. I don't know if I would say we did what we had to do to only have them score 30 points. Maybe, I don't know. That's still not. You're really
optimistic.
Being nice.
I'm trying to be optimistic.
Very optimistic. So in our keys to victory last week, one of my big parts was we got to contain Derrick Henry.
Yep.
I said we got to contain Derrick Henry so that we can make Lamar be the one in one-on-one coverage with our DBs beat us. Well, we didn't contain Derrick Henry. Nope. He ran for 132 yards and had 2 touchdowns. Yep. And towards the end, when they needed to make a stop, he was like, you ain't, freight train's coming through. So we didn't do that. And we allowed Lamar to go off. He had over 300 yards passing. Zay Flowers had 9 catches for 132 yards. Let's see, Rashad Bateman had like 4 catches for 71 yards. He really had Nate may say he's making progress. He would know better than I did, but he hasn't been much since coming in this league. And I like him because he's a gopher. Andrews was at one point, I was like, oh gosh, is he done? Is likely taking over that tight end 1 spot. He had 3 catches for 68 yards and a touchdown. So I said, well, why don't this be the game that we go little man coverage? We add some guys to the box. Let's put our corners on island, see if they've made improvements. They haven't. We're still not a man team. We cannot play man defense in the back end. Our corners are very bad. This was probably St. Juice's worst game. So, yeah, we got some problems there. So, that's my defensive recap. It was not good. Not good.
It wasn't. Everything we said we needed to do, we did not do. And to your point, the fact that we could not stop the run from Henry or from Lamar opened up the pass. And then when we started putting people in the box, then they start gashing us on the back end, man. And it's just that repetition, that constant beating us up. And so I think Anton said, I feel in the first quarter defense was ready, was running for Henry, opened up Flowers and easy 100 yards by halftime.
Yeah, I think they did. They were focusing on that. Yeah,
absolutely. And there was definitely points in the beginning of the game where you're seeing us take down Henry. You're seeing us stop him and kind of limit Lamar from what he's doing. But it's that constant, just over and over till eventually the dam breaks. And then, he breaks off a couple big ones, or Lamar gets a read option or a QB run. And then I think there was that one time where it was an early, like 3rd and 1, and they ran like a QB run to sweep to the left. And then Lamar got 8 yards down the field before he's even touched. His linemen were out there. They pushed their guys out. And Lamar was just kind of, jogging out there. And it was just like, come on, guys. Come on. So, yeah, they definitely did what they're supposed to. Ben Cornett said Commanders stood toe-to-toe with the Ravens for 4 quarters, still early, but it looks good for the team. Absolutely. And Ab said Bateman is a Jag, and he had a great game for us.
Yeah. On us. Well, so Nathan's talking about Joe Witt Jr. and what did he do? Sometimes it's just my thoughts is it's not always the X's and O's, it's the Jimmies and the Joes.
Absolutely.
And their Jimmy is better than our Joe. Zay Flowers is better than our DBs that we're putting out there. And when they're putting up their 1 versus our 1, this is where we talk about having, realistic expectations and recognizing where we have our faults. And when we did try and go, focus on, hey, we got to stop Derrick Henry, corners, you got to take care of this.
Yeah.
They can't do it.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And that's a little bit of, I totally agree with that. And that's kind of where, where some of the things I was thinking is kind of like, when you really break it down to those players are absolutely legit. Like, this is a top tier offense, number 1 rush offense. And you know what I mean? So big time defenses have had problems stopping them. But when we kind of pressed up and you see what happens in the back end, it's like you said, this is what we expected. So no matter what you tried to put out there to stop them, eventually they were going to bust through. Eventually they were. And again, I think we did good as far as trying to contain, not by the numbers, but for a while. And maybe the first half, I'll say that, the first half. Second half, they just opened it up on us, kind of like in the Tampa game. And look, Tampa, you guys get Lamar Monday night, so I'm definitely eager to see that one. But yeah, no, man. Look, at the end of the day, this is a learning lesson for us. Like you said, now we already knew what was on our defense. We know the shortcomings, and this is just things that we have to address. And then obviously, we'll talk about this later with the Jonathan Allen injury. I remember there was a certain part in the second half where we're just looking. I was looking out and see with a buddy, and I was just like, "Where is John? Like, where's Jonathan? Where?" And then you start to see him on the sidelines. But again, I'm at the bar, so I couldn't hear the audio that said that he was out with torn pec and all that. I don't know if they knew the full extent at that particular point, but we did notice that he was not on the field, man. So frustrating, definitely frustrating. But look, this is kind of what we expected going into this game, man. So. Yeah, buddy. So look, we're not going to harp too much on how poorly the defense played. I still give a pass that bend.
No, they broke.
Yeah.
There's no bending happening out there.
I wanted to keep the bending. No, but they definitely broke. Let us move on to the special teams. And I got to say this because I know, Nate, you're in here. One of my keys to victory was Austin Siebert has to have a better kicking game than Justin Tucker. Justin went 3 for 3 with a long of, I believe, 45, and Austin went 3 for 4 with a long of 55. He said, did Austin make the extra point? Yes, it was tipped, but it got through. I know you want to look at the replay on that. So I think Austin, with the length of the longest kick that he had was 55, I think we won that one. Tressway, only 3 punts for a little over 100 yards. Return game didn't really do as much as we would have liked him to do, but still good to see Olamide Zaccheaus doing his thing. Will, what are your thoughts about this kind of the special teams, what we've been able to do? We got to kick over 45.
Yeah, I mean, our kicker continues to be impressive. When you go into the season without your kicker, we had street guys off the street kicking for us in training camp, and the fact that they picked up a guy that got cut and he's turned out to be really good. Like, I think that's a huge play by these guys. And week in, week out, I'm not sold on him yet. I'm still sitting there going like, is this the game? Is this the reason why wasn't on a roster? Is this the game it's gonna, but he just continues to drill him. And the best part about it, sometimes when he kicks it, it's like you see it from the get-go. Oh, man, it's right down the pipe. Yeah. We're good. Yep. It's not like the ones where like Sly or Justin Hopkins would just catch the post. He got it. He got it in there. That type of stuff.
That in there.
Right? So that's my shout out to him. It's like, all right, when he kicks it sometimes, it's like there are no doubters. And maybe there's something to him that maybe he's a lot better than what we saw. That's what I'm going to hope for.
Well, look, I was encouraged that he did kick the 55-yarder because I know he missed, I think, from 52 or something like that. But like you said, and like Abbott said, he's doing his job. This is what is expected of him, and that's what he's doing. And shout out to that. But we need it. Those extra points are keeping us in the game. But I have to go back to what I said earlier, man. You can't trade field goals for touchdowns. Yeah. 3 field goals is nice, but it's not going to push you over the top when you're playing a team that's consistently scoring TDs and they're keeping you off the field, so you're not getting as many opportunities. So glad to see this. Obviously, like I said, Tress Way got back out there, got his 3 punts and doing that. But you know what? Overall, I mean, we look at Tress and, you have those, 2.5 games where we didn't punt. And then, he's gotten I think 4 last week and 3 this week. These are the little things that complementary football where our offense and going 4 on 4th, like we've been doing over the last couple of weeks, is kind of keeping him, is resting him. So he's not having to be the guy that's in every single drive. Is it time for me yet? Oh, here I come. Like it's been in years past. One thing we knew, we didn't know if the offense was going to score a touchdown. We didn't know if the field goal kicker was going to kick or even if we were going to complete the pass, but we knew we were going to punt. We knew we were going to punt for at least 150 yards each game going in the pass, and we don't have to worry about that as much this year, and I'm excited for that.
It just makes me laugh that every game you go in comparing to our punter get more yards than our offense. Like that is a key stat line for you. It just makes me laugh.
Ab said McManus just got picked up by Green Bay.
Interesting. He's probably their 3rd kicker of the season now.
Huh. Let's take a look at that. As you know, he was cleared of any of the infraction. They dismissed the case or something like that. So he was cleared of any infraction that he had. But Washington cut him after we heard about, the things that had happened.
Well, I think Washington cut him because I think they felt he was being deceitful with them. The fact that the either in free agency or at the time of it, whatever he was involved in, I don't know how forthcoming he was, and that may have been enough for Adam Peters to just be like, you gotta be transparent with me.
Yeah, and I'm glad. I like that. We don't have time for that nonsense. Let's just keep it moving and grooving. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take a quick little breather. We're going to be right back. We got to talk about Jonathan Allen, his injury, and there's been a lot of moves that have been going around, and we definitely got to tune into that. Check out my guy, Anton Benton of Awesome Artisans. We'll be right back. Yeah, buddy. That was my guy, Anton Benner, creator and owner of Awesome Artisans. He's on Facebook. He's on Instagram, awesome_artisans. Definitely check him out. He posts up all the work that he does, and he will travel. He will travel. I actually think he might be in coordination to come up north to talk to Nate, help his family out with some things. So, yeah, he does good work. Good work, ladies and gentlemen. So definitely get in touch with him. What's going on, people? That's my guy, Will Kramer. It's your boy, Sean Spencer. We are here talking about our Commanders after our loss to the Baltimore Ravens. Appreciate you guys joining us. We did have a loss in this game. Outside of the score, we also lost one of our premier defensive linemen. Jonathan Allen got injured. I believe it was a torn pectoral muscle. Will, they said, out for the season. Where do we go from here, man?
Yeah,
rough.
It is. This is a big loss. I think it's a big loss because he is also a big part of the locker room. He's a captain. You know, he's a commanding figure in there. The guys rally around him. You know, I know we're seeing a lot of stuff from Frankie Lulu as like the hype man. That used to be Jonathan, but I also think, you know, I think he's just a big presence in the locker room.
Yeah.
And he does a lot on the field. You know, Dan Quinn was talking about, you know, there's a lot of things that players can't do all that he does, you know, and there's been a lot of criticism so far about him and Duran and what you know, the production they've been doing. But you certainly saw and heard from the coaches that like losing him is going to alter what they have to do on defense. And it's a significant blow. So it kind of sucks.
Yeah, well, a lot of the other, you know, the edge rushers and other defensive members, it was by committee. You know, you had Armstrong, you had Baptiste, you had, you know, Farrell, you had a number of these guys, Fowler, all these guys coming in and out. And, you know, shout out to Jadon Newton, who's been coming in and trying to help out with Payne and everything like that. But Payne and Allen were those two statues. Those are the two formidable forces in the middle. Obviously, the highest paid D tackles, but this is a big loss, man. This is a big blow for us. More because, obviously, like you said, he was one of the guys that we were definitely having on that prove it, you know what I mean, earn the money, essentially, with, you know, everything that's been going on now. He's not able to do that. But for me, I wonder, does this do – like you said, they have great things to say about him. But we did have that thought, and there's a number of times where we talked about, we're going to talk about trading a little bit later, but there's a number of times that we had talked about, you know, he would be a good piece if we wanted to go, you know, use him as trade bait, X, Y, and Z. Obviously, we can't trade him now with the injury, but does this spell the end of his time in Washington? Or, I mean, do we try to take a chance next year?
It very well could be that he played his last game. His contract offers some like opportunities to get out of his contract this offseason where you wouldn't have a dead cap penalty. You know, you're talking about the fact that he'll be in his 30s. You know, you drafted Johnny Newton in the second round. This is a very easy game for fans to look at the roster and say, this is probably someone they would look to move on from. So yeah, like that's what part of it kind of stinks, not just from the fact of like, this could be his last game, but for this guy, this team is finally winning. Yeah. This team finally turned the corner with the guy who's stayed loyal. I mean, he signed an extension here. This is a guy who's from Ashburn, Virginia. He got drafted by the team, you know, when they were the Redskins. He signed an extension to stay here. He's been through 3 head coaches. Technically, you could say 4 because we had the interim with Callahan. You know, so like it's like for – right in here, it gets you in the feels here where you're like, this is the type of player who deserves to have some happiness on the football field and with the team he's been at. So that's the part where like you start going down that rabbit hole of like, he might be trade bait. Adam Peters is a bottom line. He's a black and white. He doesn't, you know, type general manager from what we can see right now. That's the kind of stuff that kind of bothers you. But I'm also going to try and like to stay back and say, I'm rooting for this. Even though they don't wear this, but I'm rooting for the front of the jersey, and I can't be rooting for the back if I want to see good things happen in this franchise. But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man. I go back to that interview he had last year with the wife beater and the do-rag on, and he's just like, I'm pissed, man. I've been here 7 years and we ain't doing crap, man. Something's got to change. And then it's like, it changed. It finally changed for you, buddy. Now this. He's saying in the comments, I worry about the contract talks with Allen next year. I mean, we all do. I mean, we know the type of piece he is to the puzzle on and off the field. At his best. Unfortunately, he has not been playing up to it as much prior to this, but you just hope that they, maybe they give him the benefit of the doubt. But to your point, it's all about that bottom line. It's all about where they're going. I know, Ab and I have talked about our little Ron's guys comments, and he's from that regime, and that you got to go back to that old adage, man. The best ability is availability, and if we're looking to go down that stretch and he's not on the field, I don't know if we can justify that, but
and that's kind of, we talked about with Ron's regime and the fact that we put so much money into the defensive line and we signed 2 players from the same position for big money contract. That's really not something that you do. But Jonathan Allen, the hard part was Jonathan Allen is the guy who's a little bit more consistent in his play. He's the one who goes to the Pro Bowl more than Duran does in that time. So it was like, not only was he the first, so therefore they're like, yeah, he's worth it. We should, but he has been more consistent when he plays. But he's also the one who has suffered the injuries. He's had 2, if not 3. I mean, his rookie year he had the Liz Frank injury and was out, so he only played about 5 or 6 games and he was gone. And our defense took a turn when he left. So he's had some significant injuries that hurt him. Whereas Duran has not when you're trying to. But it is also Adam Peters is going to create this roster in a certain manner where he also may look at this and say, you don't keep 2 highly paid defensive tackles, you get rid of 1, and this is his chance. And even if Allen was to say, I want to be part of this, I'm willing to do a restructure and take less, it's still, Peters could be like, I'm still putting too much money into one position that you don't do. So now let's look at what do we got to do about it then? Yeah. And I will say this, if there's going to be a position on our defense where could we suffer an injury and have some pieces, D-tackle probably is the one position on defense where it's like, well, there are some guys. We did spend a 2nd-round pick on Johnny Newton. The staff, the front office loves this guy. All right. Now, I will say this. He's been a little bit slow to kind of make some plays. I kind of wonder if his feet are bothering him. He's had he had surgeries on the offseason on both feet. And I would imagine that he probably is good enough to play, but he may not be the same player he was last year at Illinois. And we may not see him really develop until next year. Yeah. But he's going to get some significant minutes. The other guy, this is one that kind of surprises, is Phil Mathis. And Dan Quinn has singled him out to say, when Phil is in there at the nose technique, he can really do some things that not many guys can do. He can really occupy some blockers. He was really giving him some praise. And that's 2 weeks in a row that Dan Quinn in his post-game pressers has talked about Phil Mathis. And he's a guy that I've been ready to get rid of for years.
Yeah.
So I will be the first one to say, whatever they're seeing, I've never seen out there.
Right.
What they're seeing in practice in the games, I'm always like, get this mother out of here. And
get him out. It took him 2 years to get on the field. I mean, he was hurt when he first got here. So, I mean, the fact that he's out there, look, one thing that I do feel encouraged about this whole situation is that what we've seen this year is that they have been moving people in and out. They've been moving guys around. We saw at one point that Jonathan Allen was playing at edge, and, they had him doing that to give him different looks. With those pieces that you talked about, you have Newton. Obviously, we still have Payne, and then we have Mathis. They're coming in. They have high. We also have these guys that I talked about on the edge coming around. I feel like, and I'm going to put my trust in this coaching staff, and I really feel like Dan's going to really kind of move things around. A lot of stuff that we saw in Dallas Cowboys, DC. That's a lot of what we saw from them last year. Is what I think we're going to see or at least is what I'm hoping we're going to see. So that's why for me, when I heard this, yes, obviously for that heart, for that commander love, I was, this is terrible. But when I was telling this to Alex and Anton, we might be, to your point, we might be perfectly suited for this situation where we can mix and match. This isn't like a B-Rob where it's either Eckler or McNichols and you see the drop off. You got guys in here where it's a unit of 4, potentially 5 if we go 5-3, where our 5-2, where you got a bunch of guys that can come in and kind of piece by piece fill up that space of what he has left behind. So I think when we look at that position on that D line and with those linebackers who definitely help out that D, because that line doesn't have to do everything now, because we know Luvu and Wagner are flying around back there. So they can kind of pick up, where there's a letdown there. I feel encouraged though. I think that with the way they coach, I think they might have some under their sleeve. I'm hoping the schedule is going to help us. Still a big blow, but I think we're going to be all right.
Yeah, I'm certainly intrigued. I mean, I think the chance to really get a chance to look at Johnny Newton from a long standpoint of getting a lot of playing time. Then, yeah, I think that's going to be. We're getting to that segment, Nate.
We're getting
next segment, very close. I think that part's really intriguing. Don't forget they also activated Efe Obada last week, and he played 30% of snaps. So like they put him in immediately, and he's kind of a DND tackle, a little bit smaller type player to play tackle, but he is in there. And honestly, though, I think you go to Duron and say, hey, we need contract year Duron Payne to show back up. Now we need you because your battery mate's gone. The guy you've been rocking with at Alabama, the guy you've been rocking with since you got here, he's gone.
Yeah.
We need
you
you
almost
to
fought.
show up. Yeah. The guy you came to blows with on the sidelines, and now you're best friends. But we need you. You got to step up even more, especially because you're going to have a rookie next to you. You got an inexperienced Phil Mathis next to you. You're going to need to step up. And
I think this is where we might see how valuable of a teammate he is. We all talk about how he's a good guy and a great teammate. What kind of wisdom can you give to these guys? What kind of things can you tell them that, hey, I've seen this. Hey, when this lineman is leaning this way, they're pulling, they're doing X, Y, and Z. What tells can you go and tell to these guys that are coming in behind you and help them out? And I think that's going to play a big role, because what we've seen in the McGees, in Sam Still, in a lot of these guys, we have guys that are team captains, that are leaders, that are iron sharpening iron. So if he can be a big help in that and help these guys to come up, even if he's not on the field, I think that will bode well for him. But we already know how the bottom line works. So again, Peters, Quinn, all you guys, I'm with you on it, but it stinks. It stinks for Jonathan Allen. But look, Nathan mentioned it. We got to talk about it. The league has been already starting to have a couple trades. Devontae Adams went with his former quarterback with the Jets. Amari Cooper, the former Cowboy, the former Brown, Alabama standout, went now to Buffalo. There have been talks. Nate already said it about Hassan Reddick. He hasn't been playing, I think, with the Jets, right?
Nope. Yeah, hasn't played at all.
Hasn't played at all, and they said he can. They given him permission to look for a trade or look elsewhere. Do we make this move? If not, is there another move that we make to try to solidify that D line?
Sure. D line. Yeah. It's kind of, Reddick is intriguing. By all means, he's intriguing. Something I heard that I thought was really, really hit the nail on the head. We are about building a culture in DC. What Hassan Reddick's doing up in New York does not fit into that right now. And I think bringing in a Hassan Reddick would be a move if you were like Baltimore. We're going for it. We could use some pass rush help, but we're going for the Super Bowl. And that is not what we're doing. I do think any player, if they come into a culture of accountability, can buy into that. But we are what? We're 4-2 right now. 4-2, 5-2, 4-2. We're 6 games into the season. That culture's not established yet. Maybe next year it'll be established. So I don't think we need to go after a guy like Hassan Reddick. Yeah, he would improve our team on the field by all means. He certainly would. But I don't necessarily think that's the direction that they're looking to do they're still building right now.
Oh, yeah. And I think they've proven that. I think they've proven that with not fully going after Brandon Ayuk and all the issues he caused, not going after, and we don't know how much they did, but I know we were tied to Devontae Adams when he first came out with all that stuff. And then Hassan Reddick kind of similar to that. So I love that. We don't necessarily have to get the best player that might have that TO impact where he'll give you his numbers, but he's also going to be making a lot of noise off the field. We're a fragile team right now. And, with this injury, I still think we're together, but at the same time, it only takes one bad seed to come in here and, start to split the locker room, and you have all these issues left and right. So I'm glad we didn't do that. With that being said, what we've seen is the Ravens game, I don't want to say it exposed us because we already knew the issues we had in the secondary, but people definitely have seen what's going on. So what move do we make? Or do we make any moves?
Right. Well, I think fans are getting really excited because we're winning some games. We're all of a sudden seeing like, hey, this division is winnable for us.
Mm-hmm.
But there are some holes. So what can we do? And then we're also seeing what's happening in these trades. Devontae Adams is going for the third rounder. Yeah. Amari Cooper did not go for a lot. So like good players are being traded for not huge compensation.
Mm-hmm.
But we also need to think about, what does this team need? Right now, we've got a first, a second, a third, and a third. If you go look into what Adam Peters did in this last draft with his first, his second, and his third, and his third,
mm-hmm.
all 5 of those guys are on the field in the first quarter of the season. I would certainly say Ben Sinnett probably is the one who hasn't made the most impact just yet, but he's on the field. So clearly Adam Peters and our scouting department can find guys who can make impact a whole lot sooner than that's 6 guys, actually, bad math, a whole lot sooner than we've had in the past, and so he may not want to be getting rid of, we have the extra 3rd round pick for the Jahan Dotson trade, but he may not want to be giving that up for a guy because he may be like, I can find my next Luke McCaffrey. I can find my left tackle of the future in the 3rd round. And shore up some other positions because of that type of mentality. But you asked me, is there a position that we should look at? On defense, I think we could improve on pass rush, and I think an improved pass rush would help the secondary. But more importantly, I think if there was an ability to get someone in there at corner that they think is worth, teaching, coaching, extending, being a part of it. I don't know if, these are just names that get floated around by fans. Would Carolina look to give up J.C. Horn? Is that someone that would be worth it? I have no idea. Remember, Ab was talking a couple weeks ago when Carlos Henderson got released. The Steelers picked him up, because it was like, oh, this is a former first rounder. Is it worth bringing him in for a tryout and seeing what he can do? They could have certainly kicked the tires on that. What about Cleveland? Where are they at in their season? They've already traded one wide receiver. They've got 2 good corners. They probably can't pay both of them. Would the guy out of Northwestern, Greg Newsome, be someone that they could go after? What would Cleveland want for it? I have no idea.
Right.
But if there was a position to where we could use an improvement immediately, it's certainly I'm about to curse him out with this.
Yeah.
Nathan, shut up.
I was like, you gonna take this? I'm not taking this.
What are you talking about? But yeah, corner is the position we could certainly look to go with. And Nathan, are you talking about Hassan Reddick? Who were you saying with that trade proposal? Because I'd throw my entire drink at you with that.
Right. It's like, come on, man. No, yeah. And that's the thing. Unless there's somebody that they really feel like can make that immediate impact or can address an issue. I know Fuller, was it Kendall Fuller?
It was Kyle Fuller,
brother. Fuller, right? The brother is available. So I mean, if they wanted to do that, then yeah, I mean that would be.
Thank you.
We know, Nate. We know, but honestly, to your point, I honestly think that they're kind of set in house, and I think they really would have to answer that question: is can this guy come in here and make be an instant impact on the field, and B, what will he be to the culture? I think what we've built in there and having Brandon Coleman starting, Luke McCaffrey basically getting in there starting. Having a lot of these younger guys, Sam are still making the plays and essentially being pushed up to our number one corner if you look at it, because St. Juice and Forbes, he was a healthy scratch. So you start to see some of the rookies and some of the decisions that they're making, and you're starting to say, okay, they kind of want to keep this in-house. If there's somebody they really like, which we don't know, then yeah, they might be able to bring somebody in. But for me, I don't think I think they're good with where they're at. I mean, they could still make moves. We'll see. And I trust what they're doing. But you said Kyle Fuller and Marcus Peters. What do you think about these guys?
Yeah, I mean, they brought in Kyle Fuller this week for a workout, and then they ended up signing other players. They have not signed a corner. They only signed defensive linemen based on workouts. They signed a former Raven, Carl Davis, to the practice squad. Back at training camp, at the end of training camp, we had that we were number 2 in the waiver wire. Remember that? And we didn't go after anybody. And at one point, Adam Peters had said, right after training camp, we like our roster. We like some of the guys we've got in there. And I feel like, I'll say this, I think these guys know a whole lot more about the NFL free agents and players on other teams than we do as fans. And if they're not jumping out there and going to get Xavier Howard, or if they're not going out there and getting and signing, a Marcus Peters, there might be a reason behind all that. And so I'm just going to I'm in for year one, benefit of the doubt mode. If they don't want those guys, all right, sure. They must see something or know something that I don't.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I'm banking on. And like I said, the culture is fragile. We got to make sure that whatever move we're making, this is not going to, stunt the growth of the team that we have, which is a young team in certain places. So yeah, definitely hyped, definitely interested in seeing the direction. Another move that was made, Cam Akers went to Minnesota, I believe. Yeah. He got traded over there. So, moves are starting to be made left and right. It's going to be really interesting to kind of see what happens down the line. I, for one, don't think anything will happen. Okay. But we'll see.
But I will say this, if we do something, I'm also 100% fan. I'm on board. If they make a trade, I'm like, all right, cool. I'm good with it. If we sign Hassan Reddick and whatnot, okay, I'm all right. I'm in.
Right.
They must see that we need it.
But that's the thing. We trust them. We trust what's going on. We trust where their heads are at right now. And that's not something we've been able to say for a while. But hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. Look, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate y'all being here with us and joining us on this day. You know what it is. Washington Football Weekly, my buddy Will Kramer, and to me, Sean Spencer. But we got to move on, ladies and gentlemen, because there's a game this week. Yep, we're still playing football. And this game, it means a lot to me, ladies and gentlemen. It means a lot to me because this game has some family implications. Me and my brother, we kind of go back and forth on this one. For several years, his team was decent and good. And then he gave us his whole team, the Ron Rivera's and all that. They all came to us, and we got Luvu, we got Chin and all that. So I thank you for that, brother. But we got to bring him on. For those of you who don't know, my guy, diehard Carolina Panthers fan, Jared Spencer. What up, Jared?
What's up, yo?
How you doing?
How's it going, man? How's it going?
Y'all hear me? Can y'all hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, we can hear you. Yeah. The Panthers aren't muted this year. You're good. You're good.
Hilarious.
So what's up, man? What's up? I mean, look, I'm not making fun. I'm not poking fun. But
no, you know what? You just like after all this time, honestly and truly, it's my turn. It's my turn to be in the depths because y'all have been down for so long. Seeing where y'all team is at and the trajectory y'all are going, I'm nothing but happy, and I am now ready to prove that I'm a diehard fan through whatever depths we're gonna go through. I'm here, but yeah,
you're going through the thick of it right now.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. God. Listen. Like I told Janae about her Cowboys, weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. All right. I hope it comes for you sooner than her Cowboys.
Yeah, me too. But
oh man, well look, let's go into it. Nathan said, as long as David Tapper owns the Panthers, he will hold them back from true success. Let's start there, man. What do you think about your owner? The same guy that was throwing drinks on people last year. Like,
here's the thing about David Tepper. I mean, well, number one, when you have all the money in the world and you're like, I think he's like one of the richest men in the world, or if not, at least America for sure. You can kind of do what you want. Like, I don't know enough about the politics of how teams are run, but I'm pretty sure you can't boot the owner out. You know, everybody else's job is sort of up for grabs, but if you bought the team, like, it's your team, you know? And so I don't know how many failure coaching staff setups he has to experience in order to realize he was wrong and please sell the team. But, you know, we're just, you know, in the thick of it. That's the best way to say it. I can't do anything. Like, it's not like a curse. It's kind of like we all know who the boogeyman is, and everybody's just, well, you know. So,
man, we've been down that road for so many years.
Yep.
Like, we know exactly how you feel.
Yeah,
it's been rough. Dan Snyder just left us, so we still have that ick on us as well, brother. So
and like you said, you know, you losing is not going to get you kicked out of the league. If anything, those 31 other owners are like, well, you suck, so we know we're going to win against you, so stay there. You know what I mean?
You know, it's crazy. It's funny how Carolina, I mean, I think I saw like a thing. It was like 9 years ago. What is it, 2024? 9 years ago, we were like in the Super Bowl. And so going from that to the depth right now, it's gotten to the point where it's like, it's almost like a bye week. Like, oh, Carolina's up? All right. Like, we got a free win.
I didn't want to say that.
I never expected it to be like that. Like, it's actually kind of incredible. So.
Yeah. No. You kind of hit rock bottom here recently. If you fire a coach after 1 year, you know, then and you draft a quarterback who doesn't look like he's making it, you know, that's kind of hitting rock bottom.
Yeah. I mean, the worst part is, so not only do we sell our entire team, but the worst part is like, there's still sort of, it's one of those situations where it's like, okay, we draft Bryce Young, and then he didn't pan out as well as CJ did. And now everybody's pointing fingers. It's like, well, no, you said you wanted him. No, you said you wanted him. And so, but it's just a whole bunch of, since he's not doing as well as people had hoped, everybody's pointing the fingers as to like who really wanted him. And the overall consensus seems to be Tepper, but obviously Tepper's not going to say, yeah, it was me. I wanted him after what CJ did. But we think, I mean, at this point, we're just going to assume everything, you know, if our stadium has like a leak, it's Tepper. And any little problem, it's just Tepper. It doesn't even matter how realistic or unrealistic it is. So we're just going to blame him for everything. But yeah, it's just morale's not good.
That works. We still do that with Dan. Any issue we have now, it's Dan Snyder's fault. It's Dan Snyder's fault. But listen, tell your Panthers fan, you stick with your quarterback, okay? I stuck with Sam, even though he's not here. You stick with your guy, all right?
So actually, that's a good segue, though. Talk to me about, let's first talk about what has happened since Andy Dalton has come in. What has changed in the offense to like what with him in there now?
So I think the thing about Andy, you know, this is my favorite part about like the current NFL, just this resurgence of quarterbacks, you know, starting with like Geno Smith and all these backups, even Sam Darnold, man, I'm so excited for Sam Darnold because especially when you go into, actually, it's so ironic. They both started, like, were drafted by the Jets, right? When you go into a terrible organization and then you're expected to be the savior and then your whole career gets derailed, no matter how high you were touted in college, and then just to, you know, have unrealistic expectations be placed on you, it's just unfair. I mean, Andy's a different situation where he had so many good seasons in Cincy when he first got drafted. But again, it's the same thing where he kind of, you know, seemingly is past his prime and got just shifted around as like a good number two. I personally didn't have a lot of faith in him, but the way I look at him is he's just a confident backup. He just throws a solid ball, and he brings the stability that we've desperately needed. And I mean, morale is so low, you really could have threw anybody in there. Like, I really would have liked Joe Flacco if we're just throwing out names. But I mean, he's in Indianapolis right now. So
wait, you're not going after Cam, ESPN's newly hired first take announcer now? You're not going back for Cam?
We tried that. Cam came back.
Yeah, we did.
They did.
So,
they did.
How long that lasted? Nah, I mean, well, the thing about it is I will never not enjoy Cam. I don't care. Like, it's not even about that. Like, Cam brought so much electricity.
Yes.
And that's segueing to what, I don't know if we're going to talk about Washington, but that's what I feel with Jaden. And I texted you, Sean, like that the night of that Cincy game, I think. Yep. Like, just like y'all got a guy. Like, he brings the electricity. And that's what I felt with Cam when he came in, regardless of, you talk about stats or anything like that. He makes you proud to be a fan. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that's one of those intangibles you need. But just going back to Andy to close, I think he's just stable, just a good, solid guy. He makes solid throws and throws a nice spiral. He's solid.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
He's been around the league. And real quick, I gotta shout out Cam, because any man that can get all these little white boys to start dabbing every single day, show that man some love, man. I hate what's happened to him. I would have taken him in Washington, but Ron and he had a little issue with Ron because Ron didn't call. But it's all good. It's all good. We moved on. But look, what your new head coach, Dave Canales, used to be the former OC over at Tampa Bay. Mm-hmm. It's hard to get a grip on what he's been doing, because obviously with Bryce Young, things were so rough in the beginning. But that first game with Dalton, he looked good, and since then they have looked good. What are your thoughts on him and what he's been able to do? Did you freeze up?
I might have.
I think you might have. Bear with us, ladies and gentlemen. That Panthers internet, a little rough. David Tepper must have heard us talking about him.
Right? Cutting us off.
Until we get our guy back here, that is going to be something interesting. I honestly think with Dave Canales that this is another one of these OCs that's had a solid year, and then all of a sudden you put him in this type of situation. It's kind of hard on him, and I don't know how much you can really put on him for what he had. You don't have CMC. You don't really have any wide receivers. I know they got Adam Thielen, but then we talk about Burns, Chin, Jeremy Chin, and Frankie Louvu, all those guys that have left now. It's kind of to be expected that they're having the season that they are having. Yes. But how much do you put that? And I think Jared's back.
Yeah,
he's back.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. I mean, that's where I'm curious to hear his thoughts on the coach, because last year's coach wasn't even given like a season to do things, and clearly Frank Reich and the owner clash. But going into this team, this roster, the depth chart, they lost some players. It's like I certainly hope people understand that expectations need to be low, because there's not a lot of guys on the roster here that scare people, minus outside of, South Carolina's finest, Jadeveon Clowney and Xavier Legette. But regardless, beyond that. So I hope they're patient with us. But Jared, talk to us about what's going on with Dave Canales and how is he doing? Does it look like they're being patient with him? Does it look like he's starting a foundation?
So yeah, that's what I get from it. I mean, I'm gonna go back to what I said with Cam. With me, my perspective on Canales is, it's just energy and vibe. I think much like the McVay kind of vibe that was brought on with this whole, taking an OC, a young OC, and making them a head coach, I feel like that's what Dave Canales brings. Obviously, he was brought in because of his quarterback expertise specifically. That's didn't go super well, but is it Bryce? Is it him? I'm not really worried about that right now. I'm just mainly thinking about the fact that he has a really positive presence, a really positive outlook, a young bit of energy that he's kind of breathing into. this organization, just in my impression. And you know, I think it's hard to judge somebody who doesn't have a lot of pieces. I think that's the rub of it. Like, you can call him any kind of thing you want. You can look at the record and call him a terrible coach. But I think when you know, have like a handful of draft picks and you sell your entire team before he gets there, and he didn't even draft Bryce, to my knowledge, like, I'm pretty sure that was the regime before with Frank Reich. So he's coming, and that's why, you know, I think if you've seen any interview by him, you might think he's sort of happy-go-lucky, which is why it super surprised me that he pulled the plug on Bryce and said, "No, let's go with Andy." Like I think week 4 or like week 2 or something like that, like really quickly. So I think that's a really great indicator as to, you know, I believe in Bryce, but we gotta go now. We gotta just prove we're trying to do something. We're not tanking for, you know, another number 1 next year or something like that. We're actually win. So,
and it's frustrating for Bryce when you see that. I mean, obviously Frank Reich, when he had him, he drafted him. But one of the big things I always heard was that Frank Reich likes a veteran quarterback. So that wasn't going to work, and then all the pieces that left. But then to take him out so early, what is the future of Bryce Young in Carolina? Is he trade bait? Is he done? Has he played his last snap in Carolina, or can they give him another chance? Can he be a valid backup? Like, what do you think?
I think they're always going. I think it's a headline. You know, as soon as the number 1 overall doesn't do as good as, you know, people thought, they're just going to throw where's he going? He's got to get traded, right? I think this is the situation that it should always be. I think the league needs to start truly accepting the Green Bay model, like, and understand, like, sit the new guy and let him under a veteran. Like, it doesn't matter who the veteran is, really. Like, even if you just do the Jacoby Brissett thing, like, I think Drake May starting right now, right? Like, you have a couple games and then going into him. Just don't throw him out and expect him, especially in our position where we were literally touting him to be Jesus. Like, save us from everything without a number 1, like, without, you know, all this stuff. Yeah. And it doesn't help that, you know, Thielen's injured. Like, I mean, that was before, or obviously he got injured in Andy Dalton's first week. But I'm just saying, even with a great set of receivers, I think he would still struggle. But if you have like a mix of average receivers, new rookie receivers, and some receivers that are arguably past their prime, like, it doesn't make it better for him. Like, I think he really just needs to sit and truly watch from the sidelines. And I think, you know, his performance kind of proved that it's not always going to go perfectly like it did for CJ.
Right. Yeah. No, he certainly, like you said, the roster was not very good, and he was just not put in a position to succeed. So, as you're building your roster, talk to us about how have your draft picks been doing? Are they getting playing time? Are they showing that they've got something there? You know, I'm going to want to hear about the wide receiver.
Yeah. You know, I don't know if you know, he's a South Carolina guy. So he absolutely loves your guy. What's his name? Xavier Legette, man. I just know everything about it.
Hey,
I love that guy.
That's my guy, man. So I think all in all, if we're talking about
Oh no. No. Okay, we'll come back. Yo, David Tepper, leave his Wi-Fi alone. Daggone it. Bring it back. But that's going to be interesting to see. What are they building? Are they building something? It's hard to look at it when they're 1-5, 1-6, and you know it's easy to say, oh, they're tanking, they're blah blah blah. But it's encouraging to hear what Jared was saying about they're trying to bring in people. They're trying to get it done. They have people in house that could turn things around eventually. But I wonder if having that owner up there, if that's just too much, like with us, even at the most positive in the Rivera era, or even before that, when you have a Dan Snyder or a David Tepper up there, it's just not beneficial. It's not going to work out.
I mean, it goes back to that 2019 draft where Daniel Snyder said we're drafting Dwayne Haskins in the first round, and the coaches in front office were like, that's not exactly what we would do, and that's what they did. But, they drafted a wide receiver in the first round, and he's starting to make some plays. They're about to get their running back from Texas, Jonathan Brooks. He's coming back from injury, so they've got some pieces. They drafted the tight end from Texas, Sanders, who's a big athletic guy. So they're bringing in some pieces that to help build around.
Oh, yeah. Cameron says, is that Nighthawk the GOAT?
Yeah, Nighthawk's internet is acting up. My fault.
You're good. You're good.
But just talking about what were we talking about? Oh, the draft pick?
The rookies. Yeah.
So, it kind of just goes back to what we were talking about. I feel like nobody can save a team. To be honest, I expected Leggett to do a lot more, but as he's gotten more comfortable, especially like this last week, he had a touchdown. I think it's just getting to the point where, he's a big body guy, so you can kind of just throw it up, and he's gonna make an athletic move and kind of moss over somebody.
Yeah.
But I would say he's probably the highlight of the draft class. Obviously, he was our first pick, and but everybody else has been either average or maybe unremarkable. Jonathan Brooks has been injured, just coming back this week. Started practice this week, so we'll see if he plays this week. And that was a big part of the Canales mantra to run the ball. I don't know if you guys knows, but Chuba Hubbard's been getting the most of the snaps. Well, he's only back. And then we invested all that money in our offensive line with Robert Hunt and Damian Lewis. So this last probably 2 weeks we've been running a lot, but the whole point was to get Jonathan Brooks to run. As the person we're working in. I think Christian McCaffrey would have been better, but
Well, not now. I mean, he's not on the field. He can't.
Yeah, but
he still would have been better. Yeah.
You know what? I'll take a bench Christian McCaffrey than everybody else healthy. I'll take Wait till Christian comes back. Y'all are gonna be sorry. That's
right.
Guy. So
that's what I've been saying on my fantasy team all year. Just wait. Man. We're gonna start winning one of these days.
Oh no.
Yo, hey, real quick. I shared it. Our older brother, Jared, Daryl, is in the comments saying, I'm so glad you're proud of your Deadskins, brother. I don't even know why you got your baby brother on this show. Look, your Giants ain't that great. And we even beat them.
No, they're not. No.
They don't have an offense. How can Daryl talk about anything?
Come on.
Truth.
Come on. I know you're missing Saquon right now, Daryl.
Oh, my God.
Come on. All right, look. Ladies and gentlemen, we got to move on to the next segment. Jared, do you have your car keys with you?
Yep.
If you can bring them up, because we are doing keys.
Got mine.
Yep. We're gonna keep keying it up. Come on, I'm gonna keep.
He's like,
my man. There we go. Keys to victory, ladies and gentlemen. When we do our keys to victory, we each go around twice, and we give one key to victory that would help our team win the ball game. And we have to give guests first. My brother in the Carolina Panthers. What is your first key to victory for the Panthers to get the win?
Key to victory. Let's go. Probably running the ball. Just establish that run game early. Being consistent with it. To be honest, that might be our key. Singular, that might be the whole key to victory, because the problem is when you have young receivers just missing timing, and Andy threw a pick last week. I don't know how confident I am at throwing, but running surprisingly has been our backbone. So I would say that's a strong key.
I can dig it. Will, what you think, man?
Yeah, I'm going off that as well. The idea was we need to take away Chuba Hubbard. They want to run the ball. He said it. They really, Canales' identity is running the ball and kind of playing that game management type style. So let's take it away, because if you can take him away, then you're going to make Andy throw it. That gives you an opportunity to kind of put some pressure on him. He's not a runner, so he's going to have to get rid of the ball. It just can kind of spiral into your defense having a good game. So if we can focus and not make Chuba a factor in this game, I think it'll be good for us.
Oh yeah. My first key to victory is we know Andy is an older quarterback. And so if he doesn't get to play as much, his knees get a little stiff. All right. So we need to keep him on the sidelines. We need to reestablish our run game, and we need to take over that time of possession so that their offensive possessions are few and far between. So our run game has to definitely keep matriculating that ball down the field and potentially keep you guys on the bench. All right, man. What is your second key to victory, Jared?
Second key to victory would probably be, man, it would have to be, I would say from the defensive side, like play quarters, I guess. Like no easy plays. Like force Jaden to play like a lot of snaps. Like no fades to the outside, no McLaurin
Right.
bombs, none of that. Just force him to get 4 downs, like all the way down the field from the 20. Just do 100 yards, just slow, steady. And hopefully stop him for a field goal. Our defense is awful, to be frank, but if we can just hopefully get some penalties or something like that. It's just necessary. We have to be able to slow Washington's high-power offense down and make it a shootout at least. If we can just get you guys in a field goal every other drive, every third drive, then that might be the difference because, man, our defense is not doing well. So that's the second key.
That's exciting. I like hearing that. Will, what you think? What's your second one?
So did you all see the picture at the end of the Ravens game when they panned over to Jaden Daniels?
Yeah.
My guy was pissed. All right. So my key is going to be start hot and end the game.
Yep.
Come out firing and just, this is what they all call about a trap game. You got a team that's 1-5, but Washington's coming off a loss. And if they can come out early and put some points up on the board, they can kind of basically take over and say, it's not happening today. We're rebounding today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, and my last key to victory is special teams. It's our return game. We need to start the ball on the plus side of the 40. So either our 40 through to the 50 or even in their side of the field. We need to give our team short field so we can do exactly what you're saying, Will. Start scoring early and kind of try to end this thing a little bit earlier. We definitely do not want the Panthers to stick around, partially because we have that matchup, number one rookie quarterback versus number 2 rookie quarterback, first and second pick the following week against the Bears, which just got flexed to the 4-25 game. So there's a lot of attention, which rookie's better, yada, yada. So in this one, we got to try to end this one quickly. And I think the best way to do that is have that complementary football with our special teams. Punt, get you guys deep in your territory to start drives, have you go the whole length of the field. And then for us, Zacchaeus or Eckler has to give us good returns. So we're starting, in the 40, 45, 50, and into y'all's territory to begin with.
Yeah.
So we'll see with that. All right, let's do this. And this is not a joke. We want to see what the score is going to be. Jared, what you think, man?
I'll put it like this. So I recently stumbled upon a stat that said Carolina's on track for the most points allowed in NFL history in a season, which is so just talk about the thick of it. Like we're in the right now. I'm gonna go like 40-20. I know we're gonna score. I believe in Dalton, but I don't think we're gonna be able to stop it enough. I don't know how this show usually goes. I'm optimistic, but I'm really
there you go.
Be like 40-20, something like that. You're gonna double our score.
Oh, Yeah. I don't think I'm that far off. Will, what you think, man?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about it, hearing him talk about how bad the defense is for Carolina. So I'm going to go 27-13 Washington.
Ooh, I like that. Look, seeing as we put up 42 on Arizona, I'm going 41-17. I'm saying maybe it's like 24-17 at the half, and then we just blow up and just take over. But one thing I will say to you, and that same thing I said to Janae, is that the race is not given to the swift, nor the battle to the strong. And sometimes it's not going to be given to you because you guys don't look that great this year. I'm sorry, man. Oh, God. I got to say this, Jared. I have tried for several years to get you to come and don that burgundy and that gold. That invitation is still there, brother. Yeah, we're on the upswing.
Oh my God! If there was ever a time, it's definitely now. But can't do it. It's time for me to.
We'll allow you to be a co-fan. You could be a half and half.
Co-fan.
Yeah. Come on, man. Oh
God. Nope.
But hey, that's why I love you, because you just like me. We're gonna ride when this ship is high, but we're gonna sink with the damn thing when it goes down, man. That's how we were raised up, man. That's what it is. Jared, my guy, I appreciate you being able to come on here, talk your Panthers. I got to say, man, not a lot of guys would do this. I mean, I know the cloth that you and I are cut from, but still, it's been a rough season, man.
Yeah, man. It's only going to get worse, to be honest. So I might as well show my face now while I have some bright. I still enjoy watching the Panthers play, man. And I'm honestly really excited for this because I started being a fan in 2008. And so we've been on pretty steady upswing. And then we knocked out the park during the Cam Newton era, but I've never really had a terrible season. A lot of subpar 7-9 kind of seasons. But this is the first time that we are the Detroit Lions of old.
Yeah.
Woo, I feel for you, bro. I do. But look, man, we're going to go ahead and let you go. Jared, I appreciate you, my guy. Give Mom a hug. Tell her happy birthday for me, man. We shouted her out at the beginning of the show. And I will be there this weekend, so we're going to be watching this game.
All right.
Hopefully in the same room. All right, if we can do that. All right, man, we'll let you go, man.
All right, see y'all.
Thank you.
Yeah, buddy. Yo, shout out to my brother, Jared Spencer, coming on here. Lifelong, diehard Carolina Panthers fan. And look, our family's like that. We are going to ride until the wheels fall off. I mean, hey, we'll see. Does Bryce Young become a starter again? Maybe not this year. I don't think.
I think he will. I think they'll go back to him.
You think? Yeah.
I do.
I mean, we'll see. I mean, I'm just excited to see Andy Dalton, because the last time we saw Andy Dalton, Cole Holcomb put him in the ground, and that was beautiful.
That was yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have got to get out of here, man. We appreciate y'all staying with us, being with us on a little bit of a longer show, 90 minutes, but we had a lot to talk about, man. And anytime I get to sit with my guy in chilly South Carolina, Chilly Willy, for those of you that know.
Yes, that's right.
It's always a good thing, man. So, hey, for my guy, Will Kramer, it's your boy, Sean Spencer. And as we always end the show, left hand up, ladies and gentlemen.
Hand up.
Let's go.
Gibbs, you got a good chance. Let me tell you something about some good fans. Back in the day,